In 1990, they signed the Board of Arms Reduction Agreement. Both the Soviets and the U.S. decreased nuclear arsenals. In July of 1991, Bush met Gorbachev in Moscow and signed the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, known as START. In China, rulers brutally stopped student demonstrations in the Tiananmen Square in Beijing in the spring of 1989. The People's Liberation Army and the military, which was an arm of the Chinese government, used tanks and armored cars to suppress the pro-democracy movement in Beijing. 700 to 2,700 people were killed. President Bush personally knew the leaders of China and continued to keep contact with them after their own actions toward democracy, despite publicly condemning the massacre and suspending the sale of American weapons to China on June 5th. This angered human rights activists, but had hardly any effect on China's policy. In 1990, Bush met with South African's President F.W. de Klerk and Nelson Mandela. Bush supported sanctions against the South African government and appeared to be helping speed up the dismantling of racial separation in the country. The administration lifted these sanctions in 1991 after decisions were made that Congress requirements were met. In August of 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait over the right to control the oil in the area. This concerned Bush because he saw similarities between Hussein and Adolf Hitler and feared another mutiny situation. So, in November of 1990, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 678 that authorized the use of force against Hussein if he had not left Kuwait by January 15th of the following year. Operation Desert Shield came into effect in the U.S. and put troops in Saudi Arabia to combat Hussein if his army if needed. When it became clear that Hussein would not withdraw from Kuwait, Operation Desert Shield became Operation Desert Storm, and on January 17, 1991, the U.S. coalition, led by General Schwarzkopf, launched airstrikes against Hussein's army, signaling the beginning of the Persian Gulf War. After aiding 500,000 U.S. troops, Hussein was quickly overpowered, and the ceasefire was declared on February 28, 1991. And that's a wrap, folks. Here are our sources for this video that we made.